It started like any other morning in the quiet town of Brookfield, a place where life moved slow, and people believed nothing bad ever really happened. The sun spilled softly through the blinds of a small two-story home, where 17-year-old Daniel Reed tied his shoelaces, grabbed his backpack, and gave his dad a tired smile before heading out the door. "Big math test today," he said, trying to sound confident. His father, Michael Reed, watched him leave, a mug of coffee in his hand, pride in his eyes. He had no idea this would be the last peaceful morning they'd share for a long, long time. At Brookfield High, life went on like always. The bell rang, students rushed through hallways, laughter echoed between lockers. Daniel walked through it all, quiet, unnoticed, just trying to make it to class. He wasn't a troublemaker or a hero, just a good kid who kept to himself. But in a world where kindness is often mistaken for weakness, that made him a target. In the corner of the hallway stood 4 boys, Chad, Tyson, Brent, and Kyle. They were loud, confident, and cruel in the way only bored teenagers can be. To them, Daniel was an easy mark. It started small, a shove into the lockers, a cruel laugh, a nickname that stuck. But over time, their fun turned darker. They ripped pages out of his notebooks, dumped his lunch, spread rumors, all while teachers looked the other way. That Friday, after school, Daniel walked home alone, headphones in, trying to block out the world. The streets were empty, the sun low in the sky. Then he heard footsteps behind him. He turned, and there they were. The 4 of them. Laughing. Closing in. "Hey, Reed," Chad called out. "You think you're too good for us?" Daniel shook his head, voice trembling. "I just want to go home." But they didn't let him. The laughter faded into violence. A punch to the ribs. A kick to the stomach. 4 against 1, a blur of anger and fists and fear. Daniel fell to the ground, his backpack torn open, his book scattered across the dirt. He tried to crawl away, but they wouldn't stop. The sound of their laughter mixed with the dull thud of their blows. Then, silence. The camera pans down. Daniel lies motionless under the bleachers, his face bruised, his breathing shallow. The sun sets. Everything goes still. Hours later, flashing red and blue lights fill the night. Paramedics rush in. Michael Reed's truck screeches into the hospital parking lot. He bursts through the ER doors, eyes wild, voice cracking as he shouts his son's name. When he finally sees Daniel, broken, unconscious, tubes running from his nose and arms, his world collapses. "He's in a coma," the doctor says quietly. "We don't know if he'll wake up." Days pass. Michael doesn't leave his son's side. The once strong man now sits silent in that hospital chair, holding his boy's hand, whispering words no one else can hear. The police come and go, notebooks in hand, but nothing changes. The school says they'll investigate, but the truth is swept under the rug. The bullies' parents, wealthy, connected, deny everything. "Boys will be boys," one of them says. And that's when something inside Michael Reed breaks. Weeks later, Michael walks into Brookfield High, not as a grieving father, but as a storm. His boots echo down the hallway as he heads straight to the principal's office. "You knew," he says, voice shaking with fury. "You all knew what they were doing to him." The principal stammers, teachers look away, and for the first time, the walls of that perfect little school begin to tremble under the truth. The next morning, an emergency assembly is called. Students fill the gym, murmuring, confused. And then Michael Reed walks to the podium. He's holding a framed photo of Daniel, smiling, alive, full of life. The gym goes silent. "My son," he begins, voice low, steady, "should be sitting here today. But he's not. Because some of you thought cruelty was a joke." His words hang in the air like a weight no one can escape. "4 boys did this," he continues. "You all know who they are. You've seen them in these halls. And yet, nobody said a word." The camera cuts to the bullies in the crowd. Their smirks fade. The whispers begin. The truth spreads. Michael's voice rises, not in anger, but in heartbreak. Silence doesn't make you innocent. It makes you part of the harm. My son is fighting for his life because no one stood up. Not one. He steps away from the mic. The gym is frozen. No one moves. Later that day, the video of his speech hits social media. It spreads fast, millions of views, thousands of shares. Parents demand answers. Reporters camp outside the school. Pressure mounts until finally, justice moves. The police reopen the case. Witnesses come forward. Videos surface. And then, one fateful morning, police cars roll up to Brookfield High. Students watch from the windows as the four boys, the same ones who thought they'd gotten away with everything, are handcuffed and led out in silence. No more smirks. No more laughter. Just the echo of their own choices following them out the door. That night, Michael sits again beside Daniel's bed. The world outside is changing because of them. And then, like a miracle, Daniel's fingers twitch. His lips part. A faint whisper breaks the silence. "Dad?" Michael freezes, tears spilling before he can speak. "I'm here, buddy. I'm right here." Daniel opens his eyes, bruised but alive, and the man who had lost everything suddenly finds hope again. Weeks later, Daniel begins to recover. The school, once silent, now stands for something different. A new foundation is created, the Reed Promise, a pledge that no student will ever face what Daniel